Pay attention to your surroundings when you're out. They can tell you a lot of different things, especially when you're looking for water. I found these game trails and we've been following them for a little ways, but what I like to see is where two game trails converge together. So what that tells me is, this game trail here, the animals that are spending their days or nights out in that direction are walking the path of least resistance just like we would to head towards the water because they know where it is. And then we've got this trail over here that animals that are kind of on that side of this area are using, and this is their travel path to the same probable water source. So where this trail comes in and this trail come in forms kind of a V, which we've got a perfect example of right in front of us, and they converge into a more common path of least resistance, and that V typically will point the direction to the water, or at least the resource that all these animals in this area are heading to. So paying attention to the trails, trail convergences like this, a lot of times just thinking about what's going on and why these were formed and how they were formed will lead you to the resources that you need when you're out in the field as well. So trail coming in, comes to there. This trail's coming from here. They come together right there and form a common trail that they're all taking to probably a water resource. Kind of what I expected. The trail would lead at least close by water because the animals need the water resource as well. I mean, this is I wouldn't call it a stagnant. It looks like it has a lot of life in it. You've got aquatic plants that look healthy in there. Those aquatic plants, I bet if I walk up here to the edge, I'll get amphibians, I'll get the frogs jumping in there. And for me, that's a great sign because, amphibians like frogs, they kind of absorb a lot of things through their skin. So if you get an area that's devoid of wildlife, no frogs, no fish in there, no sign of life, then it's a good possibility that that's kind of a toxic kind of environment and not a good habitat for them to live in. But if I see frogs and fish and aquatic plants like that are lush and green, then I'm not so worried about the toxicity in this area. There's nothing in here that's killing the frogs off like a chemical or an industrial type poison that I'm worried about. So that's a good sign for me. Problem is I need to think about things long term. And while I did find water, there's not really a place for me to be able to fill up very easily without chancing falling in and getting wet. Getting my feet wet at a minimum is not something I really want to risk if I don't have to. I just found the water resource. There's a lot of areas all the way around it that could be better to actually fill up water. So that's what I'm looking for now, rather than getting my feet wet right here at the edge. Would I rather have a free-flowing mountain stream that's being kind of filtered over the moss and the rocks? Yes, but I wouldn't pass up this water resource. I just want to find a better place to fill. So this will work great for that, just not right here. So this is as good a spot as any for me to get some water. There are a lot of things happening here. This pond is very much alive. I've got small fish swimming around over here. I've got some egg sacs from amphibians, some frogs floating around in here. I've got a lot of good live water plants, aquatic plants, as well as land plants in here. There's no way to know visually or through scent or anything what is in your water in the wild. So as a precaution, you always treat everything as if it's contaminated. And you either filter that using a commercial filter, or when you collect this, you disinfect this by some other means. For this, I've got my Grail GeoPress water filter with me. So this I can actually filter and purify because it's mechanically filtering it as well as removing toxins with an activated charcoal filter that's ionized, that actually pulls and kind of magnetizes the bacteria, protozoa, what have you, in the water. And that's going to leave it with clean water. But what I'm also going to do is fill up my other container with the filtered water, and then after I filter through this again, because this is its own container as well, I can have 2 bottles of water. Very, very simple to use. You've got an outer container and an inner container with a filter on the bottom. So you have a fill line on here, and there's a lot of junk in here, a lot of debris. So I could pre-filter that with a cotton bandana if I wanted, but I'm not all that worried about it. I'm just going to try to fill it up without getting a lot of grass or whatnot in here. So I'm still getting a lot of stuff in there, but I haven't seen any egg sacs or fish swim in there, so I'm pretty happy about that. A little bit too much. Get some of them sticks out. So once I've got it to there, that is in the dirty water portion. I place this on, vent the top of it to allow the air to escape as it's pushing through the filter, and the clean water will collect inside here. I'm going to put that on a stable surface, which I don't really have right here. Yep, I'm going to come over here and do that on some dry land. And I'm pushing that water from the outer container in through the inner container. And that's it. That's got a spout that I can drink out of right on the top. It smells fine. Nothing floating in it. Perfectly fine. Good clean water. Pull that out and take a look at it. And you see it's got some dirt on the outside, but that portion that's filtered in there looks nice and clean. Do that a couple more times and then I'll leave this full after I fill my other container. Gotta vent that. Pretty sweet filter. You guys want to try that water?